Hey everyone. Um, so I am going to be doing like kind of like a story time, but it's a really depressed story. So I'm gonna pre-warn at the very beginning of this video that this will be having talks about suicide, depression, those kinds of things. So if any of that bothers you of any sort, please do not watch the rest of this video. And you might be wondering what I'm about to talk about. There's been a number one question that keeps coming up and that people keep asking me, and I think that I'm ready now to actually fully answer those questions. But I had to wait till I was ready on my own terms, and I hope everyone can understand that. So this is basically why I have not gone back to college and why I left college to begin with. Because I hear all the time, Kelly, you're so smart. Kelly, you really could make it. Da, 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 da. That's great. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm glad you believe that. But at the same time, you have to understand there's more behind the scenes than you see up front. So today, I am going to be discussing why I left college and how I got here where I'm at now. So this could be kind of a long video, so I do apologize beforehand. And P.S. You'll probably hear my dogs. I apologize. Got all that out the way. Good to go. So the reason I left college is because I had a lot of things going on mentally, and I'm about to discuss those things. I have not gone back yet because I am not mentally prepared to go back yet, and I hope or financially, really. College is expensive, okay? So I'm gonna kind of go into my story time now. Again, if depression, suicide, any of those kinds of things trigger you, please click off this video. Do not watch any further because I'm getting straight basically into it. So this is kind of like a secret of mine that I've never really discussed with a lot of people. And this might, how do you say it, be taken aback by some people. Some people might be offended or concerned. As of right now, you have no reason to be concerned about me. I am perfectly fine, but I do kind of want to finally give people answers, and that way I don't have to ask the same questions all the time. That way they know why I'm not there. So back in August of 2017, I was fresh out of high school. I was fresh out of an old relationship that I was mentally trying to deal with, and I had just started college. Now, mind you, I was 17 when I started college, even though I had just turned 18, like basically right after, but I was 17 when I technically moved out. I think even at 18, it was still too early for me, but that's a different story. I've had depression my whole life. I do want to make that clear. I've had depression basically since I can remember. But as more things got added, jobs, school, relationships, everything keep getting added on. It's stress. It made my depression worsen. And I do want to explain that because it wasn't like this, everything I'm about to talk about came on right away. Like, it was not like that. It just progressively got worse over the years. So back in August, I had just started college. I was super excited. But I was dealing with a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well. And I think that that's something I never talked about. I have emotional issues going on and things like that. So that is something I do want to say that, again, this does not come on out of nowhere. This is something that I dealt with but hid very well for many, many, many years. Only certain people knew about it, and that's all I wanted to know about it. But I was very, very good, just like most people with depression, at smiling and hiding it, and you would never know. And I do want to say this, you know someone with depression, whether you know they have it or not. I guarantee it. And it's probably the happiest, funniest, outgoing, smiliest person you know. And if that's you, then self-evaluate. But I know that most people that I knew that have depression were those people. The happiest one, the funniest one, the one that laughed the most, the one that laughed the loudest, the one that was the loudest. Those kinds of things can definitely, and of course there's other things too as well. I mean, you're not, but that's a hiding coping mechanism. That doesn't mean you always have it. If you are a very happy person, you are going to laugh and smile, but just kind of look out for that because they could be hiding it. Because that's what I did. So anyway, the first month of college was fine. I was getting worse and I didn't realize it. Like mentally I was getting worse. I was working full time, going to school full time. And then in early September to mid-September is when it kind of dropped off the face of the earth for me. I was mentally not able to work full-time and do school full-time and maintain relationships out of college. Like, there was a lot going on. And also, I was very alone. Because I had pushed so many people out of my life that I had no one, really. I had a couple of close friends that I had still talked to, but most of them I wasn't communicating with at the time. So it was usually at my mom's or at my dorm room. I really never had another option. So come late September, like I said, this is when I started dropping off the face of the earth. That's when I started drinking. I really started smoking heavily with cigarettes. But my drinking was probably like a very scary thing. If it tells you anything, I went out at 2 a.m. to get wine from a friend. And I hate wine, but I needed alcohol, if that makes sense. I wasn't really ever going to classes. In the classes I were going to and thought I was doing good in, I was always failing. So my mental wasn't in it, if that makes sense. And then in September, late September, I was in my dorm room. Or I was actually going up to my dorm room, I was going up to my dorm room. And there's only going to be one part of this that I'm telling. Don't ask me no questions, I ain't telling you nothing. But 2 young men there grabbed me in the elevator up to my dorm room, and it scared the ever-living hell out of me. And so at that point, I constantly felt like I was like, I constantly felt like I was looking over my shoulder. Because they lived in the same dorm as me, just on a different floor. And that really freaked me out. I never seen them again, so I do want to say that. I have not ever seen them again. I never seen them in the dorm, but that's all I'm going to say about that. So that also contributed, because if you think about it with depression, small things can become big things, and big things can feel like small things. So it's never an equal thing for us. And by us, I mean people with depression. So towards, again, the late of September, at the same time, I had met my boyfriend, as of right now, Richard, and we were going on a few dates into the beginning of October. Into the beginning of October, I was not doing well at all. I was self-harming. If I wasn't at my dorm, I was at my mom's, I was with a friend, I was with someone at all costs, because every time I was alone, I physically, mentally couldn't do it. Like, I would cry all the time. I'd watch Netflix till 7, 8 o'clock to the next day. I would stay up for 36 hours and then sleep for 2 hours and do it all over again. So it wasn't a good time mentally for me. And during this time, I was smoking, I was drinking, I was doing all the same things, but it was getting worse. And I had went on a few dates with Richard. And the only reason I went on dates with him was basically to get myself out of the bed. And I hate to say it like that, but it took me so long to even get out of bed. So, like, it would give me a reason to actually get up and do something with myself. Because there was a long period of time that I would just sit there and cry, or I would watch TV and, like, would disassociate myself. Like, I wouldn't even pay any attention to the TV at all. Like, there was a lot of things that happened that were really scary and sad things, and I like to make that clear. So again, if any suicide talk triggers you, please click off. Like, do not go any further, because this is where it's going to get really kind of dark, and I do apologize. But late October, on the 20th, I was alone in my dorm room, and I had got a text from Richard that night that said, hey, I'm having like a game party tomorrow at my family's house. If you'd like to come over, I would love to see you. And at this point, we had went on like 3 or 4 dates, maybe 5 dates. And he was a really sweet guy, and he would always check up on me. But at this point, I had already had my mind set up of what I was going to do. So I told him no. I don't even remember if I didn't even respond to him. I don't think. I think I just left him on red. So that next morning, I got up at about 1 o'clock. Maybe even a little bit later than that, probably like 1:30. And I had woke up, and I just knew I was done. I knew I was over it. I was over being sad all the time. I was over crying all the time. I was over, and in my head at the time, I was hurting everyone. I was just the biggest, excuse my language, bitch that you had ever met. Like in my head, everything I was doing was wrong. I was doing school wrong. I was working wrong. I was not even doing dating right. Like everything in my head I was doing wrong, even if it was perfectly fine. I would get a B on a test and I'd be like, I'm suck, like I'm awful, like that kind of, it was literally just, I was killing myself from the inside out. So that morning I woke up and I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I had to do at the time. So that it's not really that morning, that afternoon, I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but I will say that I tried to hang myself, and it didn't work. It came undone. That's all I'm going to say about that subject. I don't like to go into details about things like that, especially for someone who's like, I don't get triggered, and then watch it, okay? So I know y'all are there. But it didn't work, and I fell and hit the floor. And when I hit the floor, I instantly burst out in tears. And I was already crying, but it was like full flood, like couldn't breathe, panic attack. And it's literally as soon as I hit the floor, my phone dang. Like, bing, like, you know, like an iPhone. And I wasn't going to check it. I had no reason to check it. I was just going to get up, stand up, get back up there, and try again. That was what I was going to do. There was no note. Nobody knew. Nobody had any clue. I never let anybody know what was going on with me. And instead of getting up and trying again, I decided to check my phone. Because maybe, just maybe, God was telling me to stop in some kind of way. And it was a text from Richard that said, hey, would really like to see you. Please come over. Basically, I miss you and I'd love to see you. And I politely declined because I had knew what I was going to do. And again, at this point, I am hyperventilating. I can't breathe. I'm crying my heart out. Pretty much asking God, like, why me? Why are you doing this to me? Like, I have done everything I possibly can to make other people happy, to make sure everybody's okay, and you're going to do this to me? Like, why? I said why a lot. And so I sat there for another 20 minutes on the ground, crying, couldn't breathe. And it kind of dawned on me, like I was asking right before I did it, I asked God for a sign, and then I dropped the floor and there's a text message. Yeah, you know, it was a weird coincidence, okay? So when I hit the ground, I waited about 20 minutes, and I decided, okay, let me put these two and two together, because I had literally just asked God and prayed to God, why, like, give me a sign, like, I cannot do this anymore, I'm not okay anymore, like, I can't physically, mentally do this anymore. And so for that to happen in my brain, I was like, okay, maybe I should just go to this party, maybe there'll be another sign, maybe I'll understand why this happened, why me, basically. Maybe he'll give me a reason to be here. And because when I say this, I was so depressed, like I barely ate, I barely did anything, I was broke all the time, and I physically couldn't do anything. Like, I didn't want to do anything. But a lot of that situation and why that happened wasn't because of anyone. It was because of me. And my brain telling me that I was nothing and I wasn't worth even a quarter or a second of someone's time. And that is why depression is such a scary thing. So long story short, I went to this party. I seen Richard. We had a good time. We were talking. And then he asked me to be his girlfriend. And in my head, I know it sounds crazy, but going from that to having someone that wants to call you their own, their own girlfriend. That's my girl. Like, in my head, that was a sign. And it might not be to you, it might sound stupid to you, and that's fine. But for the first time, it felt like somebody wanted me. Like, my brain couldn't tell me nobody wanted me, nobody cared about me, because why would he ask me to be his girlfriend? Do you know what I mean? Maybe that makes sense. So anyway, sorry about the darkness, but that's why I said in the beginning, this is a kind of a dark story time, so be prepared. And me and Richard have been together now 2 years and 9 months and 5 days. And it's been 2 years, 9 months, and 5 days since my last suicide attempt, since my last self-harm, since the last time I can remember saying, I want to die. And that's something that I'm very, very proud of. Because I always say Richard was my guardian angel, and everybody kind of thinks it's stupid. But when you hear my story, it's a little bit different. And I don't want anybody to feel offended, hurt. I don't want anybody to be upset about not knowing or not even me telling them things like that. This is like hard for me, but I know that I'm in a good place mentally now that this can finally come out and me not feel bad about it. If that makes sense, because it took me a long time to be happy. And of course, there's some people out there that don't think depression's a real thing and don't care, and like that's fine. Like I don't care. I'm subjective to that. I know what I went through, but I'm going to tell you the real reason I'm putting this out. It's not just about, that's why I'm not going back to college. I might eventually go for something small, but I can never put myself in that position again to get that bad. Like I cannot do it again. I'm sorry. I know that disappoints a lot of y'all. I am a very smart, intelligent, beautiful woman, but I honestly, physically, mentally cannot go back to college right now. I might eventually in the future, but not right now. The only people that knew were very, very close family and some very, very close friends. A lot of people don't know, and a lot of you guys watching are probably flabbergasted, and some of you are probably don't seem so very surprised. So it's however you take it. But I think what caused me to make this video today and actually tell you my story and finally like come out with it and just kind of be able to give you guys some answers about why I did not go to college or why I did go but didn't stay, was because I thought about it and what would it have been like if I left? Some of you, your life may have never changed. You probably never seen me, you could have never talked to me, and that's fine. But when I think about it, I think about all the sunsets that I would have missed. Every single laugh, belly roll laugh, clapping, snorting laugh that I would have missed. I wouldn't have been able to see my niece be born. I wouldn't have seen my other nieces and nephews grow up. I would have never met any of these people, any of my newer friends you guys are probably watching going, what the hell? But I know it sounds insane. I know it sounds insane. But in my head, I'm glad I went through it, because that way I can sit here and talk to you and be able to empathize and sympathize with all of you who go through the same things. But I will say that it was the darkest time of my life. I have never been in that bad of a place before. But there's a lot of things that I would have missed. And hi, baby girl. A lot of things that I don't know if I would have been okay with missing. And for a long time, I knew that was something that I might do, that I might have wanted to do. And I didn't think I was going to make it to 21. And I am now less than a month to my birthday. So it's kind of a big deal for me. So I do want to make this clear. I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera here. I want to make this clear to anyone who is watching this video as of right now. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to ask for help. Does not make you crazy because you're not happy. You're not crazy for feeling sad. You're not crazy for not understanding what's wrong. Okay? And I want to say that to you directly in your face, because no one said that to me. Everyone said, get over it. You can't get over it. I know that firsthand. There's nothing you can do to make it better. At least that's what I told myself. But I do want to let you know, it helped me so much talking to someone, telling someone that I was upset. After that happened, after all of that, after I left college, my closest friends who knew nothing about it, by the way, knew nothing about my depression, knew nothing about me being sad all the time, they were there for me. And if you're not depressed and you have a friend who is, be there for them. Don't just say, just be happy. Oh, well, thanks, I'm fixed. Like, that's not how it works. Like, that's not even close to how it works. And like I said, sometimes it's the happiest person you know. So just check up on the people you love. Just text them. Say, hey, I hope you're okay. Not, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what's the move? Hey, do you want to hang out? Just say, hey, I just want to check up on you, make sure you were good. Because I don't remember ever getting that. And I think that if I would have, maybe it wouldn't have gotten as far. But if you are a person dealing with depression, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, any of those sorts of things, you're not alone. But you do need to seek help. And I say that with a full heart. Because I'm not going to sit here and feed you and say, everything's going to be fine. Even though it is. Because I hated when people said that. I hated when I heard it. Because you don't know my life. You don't know how I feel. You don't know what I go through. I literally said that so many times. So many times. So I'm not going to sit here and look you in the face and say, everything's going to be fine. Just move on through it. Because that's not how it works. But I will tell you this. There are going to be memories that you will miss. You're never going to be able to taste pizza again. And if you don't like pizza, you'll never be able to taste seafood. Or eat sweets. Or any kind of pasta. Or potatoes. Or steaks. Or if you're vegetarian or vegan or whatever, tofu. I don't eat that, but maybe you like it. There are a lot of things that if you leave, you're going to miss. And that you don't know now that you're going to miss them. Plain and simple. I think that's why I'm fat. Not just because of my thyroid, but because I knew that I almost missed all the food items, okay? But the point of this video, I want to give you guys some humor because it's kind of dark. But the point of this video is to tell you that it's okay not to be okay. And for me, it took me 2 years, 9 months, and 5 days to figure that out. Which for the first time sounds good to say that I'm actually doing good. And that's not a lie, I promise. That's the actual truth. I'm doing fantastic, actually. I have family and friends who have helped me more than they will ever know. My mom, my dad, my brother, my niece. I'm going to call out some names here really quick. Miranda, Jesse, Chastity, Jimmy, Danielle, Devin, Richard, Jeremiah, Wayne, and Marley. That's who I'm calling out. And I hope I got everybody. And if I missed you, don't be like, oh my God. There's a lot of names. But there's been a lot of people who I don't think seen me until they knew. And some of you guys might not even know. But I will say this, you guys have been the biggest influence and help on my life that I've ever had. And I really needed you guys, and you guys were always there. So I very much appreciate you. I do, again, apologize for this long-ass video. But this is my truth. And I hope that even if you did, I hope you made it this far. And if you didn't, I understand, and they won't know, so we're the coolest. But I will say this, if you are struggling, please seek help or please talk to someone, and that person can be me. And I will not talk to anybody about what you talk to me about. It'll be very discreet. But if you need someone, I'm here. And if you don't trust me or I get it, you don't want to tell a stranger, I get that. But please feel free to seek help. I mean, it will help you in the long run. I am hungry as hell, so I'm going to get off of this long video. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate everyone who's been there for me and everyone who will be there for me in the future. I am so happy to say that I am excited to see what the future holds for me for the first time. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.